Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Creative Director Studio. And remember, this is the channel to stay motivated and stay inspired to take your career to the next level. But today we've got a great topic. We're going to be talking about the top 3 things that'll make you a better creative director.
Yeah, Corey, and we're excited to share these because these will be relevant whether you're watching this video today when we record it or well into the future. And the reason for that is because they're not dependent on technology or current trends. These are timeless mindset shifts that you can make at any point. So let's go ahead and jump into them. The first point, it's not about you. This may sound funny to start with, and you may not even want to hear this. I know I didn't want to hear this when I first became a creative director in an agency job, though it was important to hear this from someone that actually said that to me. And I wish I would have had this video at that time, Corey, to help guide me on how to actually strike at this balance. So let me paint a picture for you. Whether you've already arrived in the creative director role or you're sitting there today and you're a designer trying to get there and you're dreaming of what it's going to be like when you actually get to, quote, sit in that chair or be in that job or lead that meeting in this role, there's something exciting about that. And I'm not saying you want to strip that away from the experience. That's important. You've done great work to get where you are, and you've probably collaborated and built relationships along the way. So there's a reason you're in this position. Don't forget that. That is important, but also don't let that overtake you and make you become a different person or make you so focused on what you're doing right or wrong that you forget about all the people that helped you get there and also the people that need you to be a director for them. So it's about striking this balance. And that was my experience in the beginning. And waking up in the morning and saying, okay, today, this is what I know that I need to do. These are the things that I need when I need to speak up. And then these are the things when I need to let other people shine. And I think trying to strike that balance is really key.
I agree. I think really the one thing that's really made me a better creative director, if I really think about it, is when I really started approaching the work as like a mentor, a teacher. Now, this is the one thing that's going to help people get better. Remember, as a creative director, your job is to bring out the best in somebody else. And so I work with a lot of younger students, I work with a lot of designers, and I approach the work collaboratively. I get in there, I mentor, and I focus on teaching them things, teaching them what I've learned along the way. Because ultimately, as a creative director, we can't do all of the work. There's not enough hours in a day to do all of the work. You can't do everything. So focus on being a better teacher, a better educator and mentor. And ultimately you're going to create a lot more of an inspiring team because they're going to say, wow, Corey is teaching me some really great things. I'm getting better. They feel better about themselves, and in turn they feel better about their leadership. So focus on being a better mentor and you'll be a much more inspiring creative director.
That's a really great point, Corey. And it actually is a great segue to our second point. Know what you stand for. So many of you that are designers out there or other creative leaders have probably worked on brand development. So this is something that will resonate with you. When we develop a brand, Corey, when we work on these, we always decide from the beginning, what does the brand stand for? What is it about? Sometimes we call it a brand promise. It can't be 100 different things. It has to be one central idea that maybe has a few attributes and values that live around it. So the idea here is focus. So I want you to think about your role as a creative director. What got you to where you are? And what are the things that you think are imperative to creating a great creative output, whether that's a design, a story, a video, a narrative, whatever it is? What do you think is really important to doing that well? That's ultimately what you stand for. And let me give you an example of how this works. So, I can use myself as an example. I have often gone in to give people feedback working on projects, and I know that it needs to achieve a lot of things. And the last thing that I need to do is give people a list of micromanaging tasks that they have to go through and execute because ultimately I'm telling them how to do everything. And Corey, to your point about mentorship earlier, I believe giving people a chance to come up with the solution on their own is a great way to learn. So the way to do that is to instill the value. So it may be that, like we shared in another video that we'll link in this one, we believe your design must have soul. It must make people feel something. Anything you're creating must make people feel. So that's a great question to ask someone that I've often done as a creative director myself. What is the thing you're trying to make them feel? What is the soul of this piece? And then help encourage the actual person or team of people to arrive at that solution. And that's a very different approach than coming in and providing that grocery list of things. But you have to first understand what you actually care about. If it's one or two things, core values that you believe make great creative, you need to make that very clear. And like a good brand, you need to keep repeating it over and over and over.
You know, that's a great point. Thinking about yourself as a brand. One of the things I like to do is really think about it like this. When you 10 years from now, what do you want people to be saying about you? What do you want people to say that you did for them in their career? Some of the biggest things I remember in my career are those moments where somebody's actually given me some value and taught me something new. So I think this mentorship quality is a core piece of your brand. It's something you want to be known for as a creative director. You want to be known for as somebody who inspired me. So that way, those people that you're mentoring, when they come up, they would say, you know what, that person had really made an impression on me in my life. They really helped me get to this point. And no, it wasn't me doing it my way. And that's really important. So focus on the mentorship, and ultimately that becomes a part of your brand. Remember, you're building a brand for yourself, and why not make that brand something that somebody admires, a person that somebody admires and looks and really wants to be like.
Absolutely, Corey. And speaking from just our collaboration together as well, and working with people that we know in the industry, it's really important to know those quirks, those things that other creative leaders value, and the things that they uniquely bring to the table, because that creates harmony in the space. So there are many people that are watching this video. We want you to bring your unique ideas to the table, and you may agree with what we're saying. You may share the same values, but it doesn't mean we're all doing it the same way. And I think that is key. And that's what makes this creative world we live in so beautiful, because we're able to collaborate and really complement each other. Because we all know ultimately what's that thing we're going to fight for? What's the thing that we're going to make sure it exists every time? And that's what we want you to define for yourself.
Okay, before we get into number three, I want you to go ahead and like and subscribe because we got a lot of great conversations ahead and we can't wait to dive into those. But number three. So number three is a big one, the ego. Honestly, the ego is probably one of the biggest points we can make today. Check your ego at the door. Ultimately, the ego is going to hold you back. But what is the ego? So the ego could be, you could look at the ego like this. The ego is that inner voice that's telling you that you can do something better than somebody else, or that the stakes are really high, or that the weight is all on you for this to be great or amazing or the best. So think about it like that. The ego is really the ultimately the thing that's going to hold you back. It's going to make you feel like you're actually doing all of the work. And honestly, who wants to do that? Who wants to approach the work that way? Focus on being a better mentor. And remember our first point: it's not about you, and that's ultimately it's going to make you a better creative. Joey, I would love to hear your thoughts on this too.
Yeah, Corey, exactly. You said all the right things there. And I believe that coming from my own experience, ego often comes from a place of insecurity, this feeling that there is this feeling that we don't always know the answer. And in fact, as a director of a team, especially if you're working like us with teams that do a lot of different kinds of sensibilities and different kinds of work, I'm not an expert in all of those things. I don't need to act like an expert in those things. And the last thing people want is for me to pose as that, or to talk about this great thing that I did that won an award last year and make that some reason as to why you should listen to me. I'm not saying the awards aren't great. I'm not saying that accolades and great feedback from people isn't important, because that helps us become better at what we do. Though I learned that the hard way, and because in some projects, Corey, I've often felt so much pressure that it had to be great. The client was demanding a certain type of output, and I feverishly wanted the team to be on board with that exact vision. So for me, when I do feel that ego arising, which it does sometimes, it can still come back. It's not that me, or you, Corey, we've conquered it. It's something that we have to choose to push away if it comes up, because there are times where we can rest in our laurels and think we did something really great. Okay, we can do it again. The people around us don't know how to get there. And that's a perfect opportunity for what you said earlier, which is
Yeah.
mentorship, collaboration, guidance, all of those things. So I will say that this is something that if you take one message from us today regarding ego, it's not an attack, because we're both sharing we've been there too. It's really a way to say this is a journey. And we want to encourage you to wake up tomorrow and the next day and the next day and think, okay, how can I check this? And how can I be a more collaborative person, a more supportive person in this role? And I think that choice to do that is really how to tackle the ego. So, I want to thank you so much for joining today. We covered these 3 points. We believe if you implement these today, whenever you're watching this video, you're going to become a better creative director. And if you're really trying to get into the job, if you're a designer or a creative that's just starting out, these are things you can start now. You can start embodying these values now, and it will really help position you to become a really great leader. So, Corey, I'm excited to share these with people. And we would love to hear from you in the comments. Corey and I look at these. We will respond to you and engage in conversations. Whether you agree with us, disagree with us, or you want more clarification, that's where we are. We're going to be responding in the comments. So thanks so much for joining us today and watching the video.